This is a place where time seems to slow down, where the rhythm of life is dictated by the ebb and flow of the tides. This is Bury, a seaside town in Wales that seems almost frozen in time. But beneath this veneer of tranquility, there have been moments when the darkness of human emotion has seeped through, leaving indelible scars on the fabric of this community. I've walked the streets of Bury many times, thinking I knew the town. But over the last few years, I've seen how quickly life can turn dark, how violence can erupt in even the most familiar places. Today I want to share with you the stories of 4 tragic events that shook this community. Jordan Davies, a father taken too soon on December 16, 2019. The streets of Bury were alive with activity. It was the height of the Christmas shopping season. The air was filled with the promise of festive cheer, the twinkling lights reflecting in the eager eyes of shoppers. Among them was Jordan Davies, just 23 years old, striding confidently along the sidewalk. For those who knew him, Jordan was more than just a young man. He was a son, a brother, a friend, and most importantly, a father to 2 beautiful children. Life was full of promise for him. He had his family, his friends, and the hopes and dreams that filled his heart. As Jordan made his way along the bustling Holton Road, he spotted his friend, Jordan Brown, standing across the street. There was an exchange of greetings, a catch-up on the day's plans, perhaps some shared laughter. But fate had a cruel twist in store. Tensions flared, words were exchanged, and in the blink of an eye, Brown pulled out a knife. In a horrifying display of aggression, he lunged forward, stabbing Jordan 3 times. The first 2 blows found their mark, but it was the third that proved fatal. As the blade pierced Jordan's chest, a collective gasp echoed through the crowd. It was a scene straight out of a nightmare, a sunny Christmas shopping day shattered by the brutal reality of violence. When paramedics arrived, they fought valiantly to save Jordan's life. At the University Hospital of Wales, doctors battled tirelessly against the clock, but the 3rd stab wound had proved fatal. By the time his family was summoned to the hospital, it was too late. Jordan was pronounced dead. The community of Bury was left reeling, struggling to comprehend the loss of such a vibrant young life. In the wake of the tragedy, hundreds gathered at the spot where Jordan fell, leaving flowers, candles, and heartfelt messages. The popular Facebook group, Spotted Bury, became a space for mourning, filled with tributes to a young man whose life had been cut tragically short. Friends spoke of Jordan's infectious laugh, his caring nature, and the gaping hole his absence would leave in their lives. The incident raised serious questions about the sources of such extreme violence. An investigation revealed that the fatal altercation stemmed from a minor disagreement over money. A debt of just £40 had escalated into a deadly dispute. Highlighting the fragility of life and the devastating consequences of uncontrolled anger, Robert Farley, a gentle soul lost the quaint West Walk in Bury, was the setting for a life that was deeply rooted in the community. Here lived Robert Farley, a 61-year-old man who was known for his quiet demeanor and gentle spirit. Robert had his struggles, particularly with alcohol, which often led him to being out of sorts. However, those who knew him understood that beneath the rough edges was a man with a heart of gold. He was a dedicated family man, and his thoughts were often centered around his loved ones. In the early hours of September 2, 2021, Robert had been out drinking with a friend. Details of what transpired during those hours remain unclear, but what we know is that when he returned home, an argument erupted between him and his companion. Before the night ended, Robert sustained a fatal injury inflicted by a hammer wielded by his very friend. Despite the swift arrival of emergency services, Robert was pronounced dead at the scene. The tight-knit Bury community was left shocked and saddened. Neighbors spoke of Robert's friendly nature, his willingness to lend a hand, and the sense of loss that permeated the area. The suddenness of his passing was particularly jarring. One resident described Robert as a regular guy, someone you could have a quick chat with over the garden wall. His death left a void in their small community. In the aftermath, his friend pleaded guilty to the crime and was sentenced to 18 months in prison. But no amount of justice could bring back Robert or ease the pain of his family and friends. His passing served as a stark reminder of the fragility of life and the unexpected turns that fate can sometimes take. Kamran Aman. Stabbed in Bury Road on an ordinary evening in June 2025, Kamran Aman, a 38-year-old resident of Bury, decided to take a stroll along Berry Road. Little did he know that this seemingly mundane decision would have tragic consequences. As dusk settled over the town, Kamran found himself under attack by two unassuming teenagers armed with a knife. Despite the severity of the attack, Kamran managed to stumble to the nearby spar shop on Romilly Road, desperately seeking help. Tragically, his pleas for assistance went unheard. Upon their arrival, paramedics discovered that Kamran had sustained a single stab wound to the chest, which had pierced his lung. Despite their valiant efforts, he was pronounced dead at the scene. The community was left reeling, grappling with the senselessness of the crime. A man known for his warm smile and gentle nature had been taken away in an instant. Friends and relatives gathered at the spot where he collapsed, paying tribute to a man whose life had been cut short. A close friend described Kamran as a family man who was always ready with a joke and a helping hand. The news of his passing spread quickly, leaving people shocked and saddened. One resident recalled seeing Kamran just hours before the incident, noting his cheerful demeanor as he had stopped to fix a pothole in the road. Such was his kind and helpful nature. The motive behind the attack remained unclear, adding to the mystery surrounding the crime. In a desperate bid to apprehend the perpetrators, the police released CCTV footage of the incident, hoping that someone, somewhere, might have information that could lead to an arrest. The attackers were eventually brought to justice, but their actions left an indelible scar on the community of Berry. Terrence John, domestic violence turns deadly. The quiet neighborhood of Cadoxon and Berry was shaken to its core in June 2021, when a seemingly ordinary domestic dispute escalated into a violent tragedy. Terrence John, a 70-year-old resident, had been involved in a heated argument with his former partner. Tempers flared, words were exchanged, and in a moment of anger and desperation, John grabbed a pair of scissors and lunged at his partner, inflicting a serious stab wound to her face. But his actions didn't end there. Concerned for his own well-being, John proceeded to inflict another stab wound to his partner's chest. Realizing the gravity of his actions, he immediately called 999, alerting the authorities to what he had done. Emergency services responded swiftly to the scene, rushing the injured woman to the University Hospital of Wales in Cardiff. As medical professionals fought to stabilize her condition, the extent of her injuries became clear. She had sustained wounds to her eye socket, cheekbone, and shoulder, all requiring urgent surgery. Upon his arrest, John was charged with 2 counts of attempted murder. However, the Crown Prosecution Service later decided not to proceed with these charges, opting instead to prosecute him for unlawful wounding. During the court proceedings, the prosecution revealed that John had, in fact, intended to kill his partner. Despite this, the jury found him not guilty of the lesser charge of unlawful wounding. In a surprising turn of events, John took his own life just weeks after the sentencing, leaving behind a legacy of violence and unanswered questions. In the aftermath, the focus shifted to the victim, who had endured a terrifying ordeal. Although she had been discharged from the hospital, she continued to grapple with the physical and emotional trauma of the attack. Her ordeal highlighted the chilling reality of domestic violence, reminding us that such incidents can occur even in the most unexpected of circumstances. Reflection Berry is a town that holds many stories, just like any other community. But the events of Jordan Davies, Robert Farley, Kamran Aman, and Terrence John serve as stark reminders of the darkness that can lurk beneath the surface. Each of these tragedies was unique, arising from different circumstances and involving individuals from diverse walks of life, yet each had a profound impact on the community, leaving lasting scars on the hearts and minds of those who lived there. As I walk the streets of Berry today, I am reminded of the fragility of life and the unpredictable nature of human behavior. Jordan's story is a cautionary tale about the destructive power of anger and the importance of conflict resolution. Robert's case highlights the complex challenges faced by those struggling with addiction and the devastating consequences it can have. Kamran's untimely demise serves as a reminder of the senselessness of youth, violence, and the need for empathy and understanding. Terrence's actions underline the harrowing reality of domestic abuse and the urgent need for support and intervention in such situations. The passing of these 4 individuals has left voids in the community that can never truly be filled. They will be remembered not just for the tragedies that marked their final days, but for the lives they lived, the loved ones they left behind, and the valuable contributions they made to their community. Their stories are a somber chapter in the history of Barrie, a stark reminder that even in the most picturesque of settings, life is fragile and unpredictable. Yes. It is a testament to the strength and resilience of the human spirit that the community of Barrie has come together in the face of these tragedies to heal, to remember, and to move forward, cherishing the memories of those they lost while working tirelessly to prevent such tragedies from repeating themselves. Please remember to like and subscribe to our channel for more true crime stories.